Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Estate Right Now, where we talk about real estate matters that matter to you. My name is Jay Izzo, and we are live here from Linda Craft Team Studios here in Raleigh, North Carolina, part of the Greater Research Triangle Park. I don't want to say we told you so, but on the show, we told you so. We said to you about a year ago, including the gentleman to my right, Doug Schoonamaker, Vice President and Mortgage Originator at United Community Bank, said to you, as well as a number of other professionals that showed up in that seat, the interest rates are going to come down. And when interest rates come down during an election year, by the way, they said during the election, you watch interest rates come down. By the way, what's going to happen is more people are going to get in the market. And I read this morning that there's been an increase in new mortgage requests are up by 10%. Where we said to you that when that happens, there's going to be a buying frenzy as interest rates continue to drop. And that even though interest rates were higher, you might want to get that house now, because as my good friend Doug Schoonamaker said over a year ago on this show, marry the house, date the rate. I had not even heard that phrase before then, actually. People said, how could you not have heard that phrase before? And I said, I don't know. I just never had. I thought it was brilliant. I thought he was brilliant. So he brought him back. So now that you're getting back into the real estate market, what are your options? Well, here's an option that you may not be thinking about. A community bank. And you go, what? What's a community bank? What can they do for me? How is that different from any other mortgage lending institution? How is that different? Well, this is why I bring Doug Schoonamaker, a vice president, mortgage originator from United Community Bank, with me here today.
Sure.
To help us understand what a community bank is, what they do, and why they're an option that you're maybe not thinking about that you should think about. So, Doug, first of all, don't you love how I dramatize that?
Of course, it's beautiful.
Is that a beautiful thing for you? Okay.
Yeah.
So, first of all, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great.
Glad you brought me back.
No,
Yeah.
you know,
Didn't scare you away.
Yeah, no. It's awesome to see you. It's awesome. It really is. So the community bank, you are, you're with United Community Bank, and I don't think people even understand what a community bank is. So help us understand what a community bank is, first of all, versus another mortgage lending institution.
Yeah. So we're not a mega bank, for instance. We're not a Chase. We're not, we're a commercial bank that lends and does depository accounts in our local community. So it's kind of like buy local.
Okay.
From that standpoint, bank local as well, because it helps our community.
So does that mean that the money stays here?
Correct.
So it's that. So, oftentimes, and help me because I just don't have a full understanding of it.
Yep. So
oftentimes, people get a mortgage through a traditional lender.
Yep.
And then somebody buys that mortgage down the road.
Yep.
Right. I mean, a larger institution purchases the mortgage.
Correct.
And not just one, but a group of them. Does that not happen with community bank?
So it does happen, but it's a much smaller percentage of loans. Okay. So we still have our saleable loans, which are Fannie, Freddie, FHA,
government-backed loans.
Exactly. Okay. Things of that nature. But the majority of our loans, we actually retain servicing on, including our own internal portfolio type loans, bank style loans. So what that means to you is we're with you every step of the way. We are relationship based. Okay. So from pre-closing to closing to post-closing, we're with you. You have a problem with your payment? You call me. You come by the branch. You have a problem with your escrow account? You know where to find me once again.
Right.
So we're really there with you from a relationship standpoint.
And I'm big on local because we're local. We're not nationally here at Linda Craft Team. We're not nationally affiliated. We are local.
Yep.
Locally owned. So the money stays in the community.
Yes.
And we're not paying a national brokerage or
that's
ownership.
Correct.
And
that's correct.
That's a big deal.
Yep. It's not going overseas or anything.
No,
like that. Yep.
No, it's not. And then I think the other thing, like you said, if it's local, it stays in the community.
Yep.
And we all want to help our communities, and certainly that's what it does. So when we talk about a community bank in terms of lending for a new home,
yep.
right? Or, you're buying a resale home, whatever the case may be. What advantages are there from a community bank standpoint, or what are maybe some differences? Maybe that might be something that go, oh, you know what? I had not considered them. This is why it might be a reason I should consider them beyond the local
Yeah.
feel.
So I want to start out with, I feel like with mortgages, there's a common misconception that banks or even just community banks are more restrictive, right? From underwriting standards to rates are higher to whatever the reason is. False, 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 false. We have everything everybody else has and then some. And what I mean by that is, for example, we have access to 6 100% programs. So 0 down payments. We have access to that other lenders don't have access to because they're not affiliated with community style bank.
Okay. So you have 6 100%.
Yes, 6.
6. Okay. And all right, so somebody who is, let's say, doing something bigger.
Yep.
All right. What is something that maybe a community bank might be able to offer if somebody's doing a bigger home?
Yeah. So once again, we do balance sheet lending, essentially portfolio lending. So whether you're high net worth or, whatever the case may be, we have different programs that we put on the balance sheet that a third party, like a correspondent lender, may not have access to. And we can be flexible with that sometimes too, if there's some different issues going on that don't meet the traditional standards, if you may, where we can make exceptions on a local level once again, whether it makes common sense.
Okay. So I noticed you have a sheet of notes here with you, which is awesome.
Yeah, just some brainstorming.
Just some brainstorming things. And I know that you and I have talked before the show about maybe some possible examples or maybe some things that people are not thinking about when it comes to community bank as an option for their mortgage lending. And I personally believe they should, because I could see that there's a lot of, so maybe help us get a little bit more detail into some of the notes that you have about what you would love to share with folks when it comes to, mortgage lending or community bank in general.
Really. So I don't want to get in the weeds in terms of specific examples, scenarios, things of that nature. That's my job is to figure out a solution to get you into your house, whether it's your first house or your last house or somewhere in between. I talk with my hands a lot.
That's okay. That's good. Just hit the microphone as many times as you want to.
But what I want to drill in is that we have every product available that you can possibly need in order to facilitate the loan. Local decision making, our operations team, whether that's processing, underwriting, closing, our regional underwriting manager has full sign-off authority on making these decisions locally to make sense for somebody.
So I think one of the things, because we've known you for, God, I don't know how many years, 15 plus years,
20,
and you've been in a lot of, not a lot, but you've seen both sides of this. In terms of the lending thing. You've been in the corporate traditional
big
lending,
bank,
and then now you're in this community bank. When you compare those two things from your perspective and you look at those two things, what is the bigger appeal for you? And you think maybe even for outside again of the local feel, what are some of the things that appeal to you in the community bank that you didn't necessarily maybe weren't not as much, or maybe not as much appeal?
Yeah, big bank is great. However, they're limited in what they'll do. They better sense of terms, they dumb things down in terms of different overlays on certain products. They make it more difficult sometimes for people to get loans. Communication, underwriting, it's not regionalized, it's not local, it's spread out throughout the country from that point. So you don't have that direct contact. Therefore, the customer service standpoint of things goes downhill from that standpoint. So, and really just, giving back to the community and being here and, using those depository assets on the balance sheet to be able to fund these loans.
Yeah, and I think we need to, and I understand that you're trying to be careful here, and I
Mhm.
get it. We want to be careful here, and I do, because we have a lot of different lenders that have been on the show,
Mhm.
and by the way, they're all great people,
Yep. Love them all.
and we love them all.
Yep.
We get along. All of us get
We're all
along.
buddies.
We're
Yep.
all buddies and
Mhm.
everything like that. We all get along together. And I think we do have to also say this. Um, you know, the lender makes a difference. The person
Without a doubt.
makes a difference.
Yes.
And the other guys, and at one point there was gals
Mhm.
that were with us. They're all good people. I
Mhm.
mean, great people. They're great servicers. They all
Knowledgeable.
knowledgeable.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're credible, knowledgeable. They're great people. I know that's not where we're trying to go here. What we're trying to do here is we're simply, because you're the only one. You're the one of that group
Mhm.
that I believe is a community
That's correct.
lender.
That's correct.
And I think that's where, I want people to kind of get an understanding that they may have some options here with a community bank
Mhm.
that they just may not have. And that at the very least, they should be talking, if they're, I mean, because we are seeing a jump in loan originations,
Yes.
right?
Like you
Because,
said, rates are coming down.
right. And they're going to continue to drop here as we
Correct.
get closer to November.
Mhm.
Magically.
Yeah.
By the way. I don't know.
It's crazy how that happens, right?
You know what?
Is there something happening later in the year?
For 3 years, rates have been going up and up and up and up. And then magically, January 1st of 2024, on the election year, all of a sudden go,
Yeah.
we'll drop rates now.
Yep.
The magic is unbelievable. It's happened, by the way, every election year for I don't know how many years
Mhm.
is the way it works. And so, as more people get into the home buying
Mhm.
piece, I just want people to know that you're an option,
Yeah.
right? And there's
Yep.
more. You're not of course, United is not the only community bank.
Without a doubt. I don't even know how many there are.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
but where people live, people can live. I mean, people watch the show from all over. So,
Mhm.
in the U.S., so wherever they live, you can find a community bank. You may even be able to find a United community
Yep.
bank, but all the money is local,
Mhm.
regardless of what the community bank is.
Correct.
So what should we, if you were to say, gosh, this is what I really want you to know about a community bank? Is there something that you would go, I really wish people knew, or because people, I think when people hear community bank, I don't think they know what to think. What do you wish they knew?
It's hard to know what people know and don't know, but community bank versus, big banks are about relationship. They say they are, but they're really not, right?
Right.
It's all about dollars and cents, stockholders, so on and so
Sure.
forth. Community bank is really a relationship based business, just like you do, I do.
Yeah.
It's all relationship based. And we take care of the people that are within our community, whether it's small business loans,
Mhm.
basic checking accounts, mortgages, SBA loan, you name it, large commercial loans. We are a commercial bank funding our communities, for whatever their ventures are.
Mhm. It-
And about creating generational wealth as well,
Right.
and just one of our 100% programs is specifically designed in low to moderate census tracts, 100% financing, no mortgage insurance, 30-year fixed. I mean, can't find that very many places.
I don't know. I've ever heard of that actually.
Yeah.
Before that,
It's pretty sexy.
So yes. Well, I got to be honest with you, Doug. I've never thought about mortgages and sexy as something I would ever pair. But okay, let's go.
Each their own, right?
It is what it is. I think. Okay, so so let's talk about maybe that piece of it a little bit here, because you just said 100% financing,
Yep.
no PMI,
Correct. No mortgage insurance.
right?
Mhm.
And then also so we have some immediate wealth creation here. How are you able to do that with the no PMI and the
It's, once again, giving back to our community. I mean, that's what's about, creating generational wealth. And we have carved out this niche specifically to facilitate it,
Okay.
based off of the bank's balance sheet.
So what are some of the parameters for somebody to qualify for that 100% financing with no
Yeah. I mean,
PMI?
essentially 640 credit score.
Okay.
Okay. Your standard underwriting guidelines. There's really nothing that fancy about it. There's some little nuances here and there, but that once again, that's my job to facilitate that and figure that out for you. But really, I mean, it's been a great program overall since I've been with the bank.
And in terms of what I know I hate to use the word control, but in terms of what you can negotiate or control in this situation in a community bank, do you have more ability to be able to make some adjustments? Whereas when you were in the more commercial corporate lending that you didn't have before?
Correct. That's exactly correct. Since it's a balance sheet program, whether it's our local state president, he has authority to say, yes, this makes sense. It may not meet X, Y, and Z parameters, but I like this. It makes sense. It's what's good for the bar. It's what's good for our community. And let's make this deal work.
So, okay, well, there's another little piece because you can go to bat.
Correct.
Maybe a little bit stronger.
Correct. Or on a personal level.
On a personal level.
Common sense.
Right.
And I think that's what was lacking in the big bank corporate, as you call it, environment is really just common sense underwriting.
Right.
That's paramount.
Yeah, and all your underwriters are here.
Underwriters are here, processors, closers.
They're in the triangle.
Yeah,
or maybe
my underwriting manager who has complete sign off lives in Wake Forest. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, they're all local, Durham.
Right. So they're right here in the triangle.
In the triangle, correct.
Right. I mean, if you wanted to, you can jump in the vehicle and have a face to face and say, "Hey."
Yeah, and many days they're working in my office right beside me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when we think about mortgage lending, especially now, I think the options that people have available. I think what happens is because advertising, people with the most money, we have a tendency to go with people who we see most frequently, right? It's just the effect.
Starts with R's, starts with Q's.
Right. Well, I mean, it takes a swoosh to buy a Nike.
Yes.
Right. That's it. Right.
Yep.
And so the more frequently we see something, we have a tendency to move towards that. And whereas United Community Bank or any community bank for that matter, they're not a bank that's spending billions and billions of dollars on advertising.
Correct.
That's not what they do.
Correct.
And so it's not as known as a commodity, but yet everything that you're telling me is you got 6 programs, 100% financing.
Yep.
You got this one program that specifically is 100% financing, no private mortgage insurance, right?
Yep.
640 score, right? That's pretty strong. Yep. That's really strong. You said the word sexy. I'm not so sure how I feel about that word, but I mean, it really does. What are some other things maybe that we're not talking about, maybe in general, in terms of the mortgage world that you're seeing right now that you think people should be aware of?
I'm sure you probably addressed this in other sessions, but I mean, we still have a supply issue, right? I mean, across the country, not even just here locally.
Right.
Hopefully, like you said, with rates coming down or magically coming down over the next year, we'll start to see some of that pent up release from that standpoint. But at the same time, as you indicated, when rates come down, what's going to happen to prices?
Yeah, I mean, prices even when mortgage rates were high didn't really come down all that much.
They're still not coming down.
I mean, they may have dropped a little bit, which, by the way, we were saying. And we've been saying this all along. Even your colleagues who've been on the show have said you might want to get in.
Yeah,
you might want to get in. I know it's 8. We're close to 8, but you might want to get in now.
Yeah,
you might want to do it.
And now we're below 7, so we're making headways.
Yeah,
headwinds.
Yeah, I'm of course nobody's holding this. There's been rumors that we may get down to 5s.
I mean, it's possible. I think realistically within the next year, we'll be in the low 6s to high 5s probably is kind of where we're going to end up bopping around a little bit.
Yeah. It seems to me that everybody's thinking that maybe right at 6, maybe somewhere between 5.5 and 6 might be a pretty good number. Barometer to kind of judge that. Magically, again, that's happening. I don't understand.
What's happening at
I know this whole election thing. It just drives me crazy that we've got this election thing, and that seems to be able we've got inflation problems. So the only way we control inflation is we raise the interest rate, right?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden we go, even though inflation really has not dropped significantly, right?
Yep.
We're still paying a lot of money for gas. We're still paying a lot of money for milk, and
Everything's more expensive.
it's
Yeah.
more expensive than it
Mhm.
was. And yet we're all of a sudden magically going, yeah, it's okay. We can drop rates now.
Brilliant.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It just makes no sense. So, and we all know that housing is such a huge part of our economic
Yeah.
system, right? In our economy. So, the tea leaves in mortgages
Mhm.
right now. I gave a quote that there was a 10% increase. I got this from the Triangle Business Journal, 10% increase in new loan originations.
Yep.
Same thing for you. Are you seeing
Yeah,
something?
I'm definitely feeling the uptick, if
Okay.
you may, right now versus last quarter, for example.
Right.
We're starting to see stuff start to pick back up again. We're past the holiday season, which always kind of slows people down a little bit. They're just have other obligations. Yeah, definitely. And rates have helped coming down a little bit, getting people back out there, and starting that journey, that search again.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of curious to see how fast this moves, because I got a feeling this is going to move really, really fast.
Mhm.
And normally what we typically see is that when we're in the spring, that we get in the springtime and then we see things, but I think it may start a little earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think so?
I completely agree with that.
Yeah. We've done our time. You've been absolutely
Already?
Yeah, I know.
Kicking me out?
I know I'm kicking you out already, but you've been fabulous. Tell people how they can get a hold of you, and specifically because
Yeah.
they really need to talk to you.
Yep.
I believe, as part of their mortgage decision process. So let them know how they can get a hold of you specifically, please.
Yeah. So you can call me at 919-656-0822.
Repeat the number again.
Yeah, 919-656-0822. You can find me on my webpage at www.applywithdoug.com. That's applywithdoug, DOUG.com.
That's easy.
Or email me at doug.schoonmaker, SCHOONMAKER @UCBI.com.
And it's not the NFL football player Doug Schoonamaker.
It's not. That plays for the Dallas Cowboys now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I was really looking forward to seeing you and with getting an autograph later, but we won't do that as well. Thanks for being with me, man. You were awesome.
All right. I appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, folks, it's the show. You know what I say to you. You had a lot of choices. You chose us. Thank you for doing that. Please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. And if you are listening to us via podcast, wherever you listen to, give us a positive review. We'd love to hear from you too, by the way. Feel free to reach out and contact us. As I say to you everywhere, all over the world, you know what that is. Ciao, everybody.